Whispers of Night, Chapter 37, Whisper of the Last Flame, Final. There was no ice wastes. No crown gate. No system. No world. Only a place where everything that ever was, and everything that could be, folded into a single endless silence. Lira stood at the center of it. Not as a body. Not as a memory. As a presence holding something far larger than herself in balance. And beside her, it. The thing that had lived inside the system before systems existed. Before gates. Before seals. Before names. It no longer wore Lira like a vessel. They were separate now, but connected in a way neither could fully undo. The thing spoke first. Not with dominance. Not with hunger. With something almost like curiosity. You refused the reset. Lira exhaled slowly. I refused extinction. A pause. Then. That is not how systems survive. Lira looked around the endless space. Fragments of worlds floated faintly in the distance. Velmora. The ice wastes. The First Kingdom. All of it. Still existing. Not destroyed. Not saved. Held. I'm tired of systems deciding what survives, she said quietly. The presence studied her. You are unstable. Lira nodded. I know. You are also persistent. That word felt new. Almost unused. Like it had been forgotten for a very long time. Lira's voice softened. What happens now? Silence stretched between them. Then the presence answered honestly. Without reset, everything remains fractured. Gates will continue to echo. Hunger will eventually find cracks again. Lira closed her eyes. I know. Another pause. Then. And yet you still chose this. She opened her eyes. Yes. Because she saw it now. The truth no system could compute cleanly. Life was not meant to be perfectly stable. Not perfectly sealed. Not perfectly controlled. It was meant to continue. Even broken. Even uncertain. Even afraid. Behind her, a familiar voice echoed faintly through the silence. Lira. Kale. Not fully here. But not gone either. She turned slightly toward the echo. And smiled. I hear you. The presence inside the system shifted. You are anchored to them. It was not an accusation. Just observation. Lira nodded. I am. Another silence. Longer this time. Then. The thing that once predated the system spoke one final time. Not as command. Not as hunger. But as agreement. Then we will not reset. The endless space trembled. Not collapsing. Reshaping. The fractured worlds began to realign, not erased, not merged, but separated properly. Each gate stabilized into controlled existence rather than rupture. The crown gate appeared briefly in the distance. Dormant. Watching. No longer opening without reason. The ice wastes reformed. Velmora returned beneath a healed sky. And Lira felt herself being returned too. Not erased from the system. But written into it differently. As something the system could no longer classify as error. As something it had to work around. The presence spoke one last time. What are you now? Lira thought for a moment. Then answered softly. I'm not the anchor. I'm not the system. I'm the choice between them. The silence that followed felt peaceful. Final. Not an ending of existence. But of conflict. Epilogue. The last flame. Velmora was alive again. Snow fell gently over repaired streets. Lanterns lit the night as if nothing had ever ended the world. But some people remembered. Kale stood at the edge of the rebuilt cathedral ruins once more, where a single silver flower still grew between cracked stone. He knelt beside it. You really made me believe you'd stay gone, he whispered. The wind shifted. And for a moment. She was there. Not fully. Not physically. But enough. Lira stood beside him, looking out over the city. Peaceful. Alive. Still carrying something impossible inside her. Kale didn't turn to look at her. Afraid she would disappear again if he did. Is it over? He asked quietly. Lira watched the lanterns below. Then smiled faintly. No. Kale tensed slightly. She continued. But it's not ending anymore either. A soft silence followed. Then Kale finally asked the question he had never been able to say properly. Will I ever lose you again? Lira looked at him. And for the first time since everything began, she answered without hesitation. I'm not trapped in a gate anymore, Kale. I'm everywhere the gates touch. She stepped closer. And I'll always find my way back here. The silver flower between them glowed faintly. And in the distance, beyond Velmora, beyond the ice wastes, beyond all known maps, the world remained whole. Not perfect. Not safe. But alive. Kale closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them again, she was gone. But the warmth beside him remained. And the flower had bloomed brighter than before. END